The topic of transformation, if I want to call it, why did I choose such a topic? Mainly because of two reasons. One is this is one of the key words I have seen in PMI chapter in your 50th year. So, in fact, your regional conference in Trivandrum, which happened in April, also the theme was transformation. So I thought, okay, in transformation, maybe I am one of the guys who can talk about transformation, only because the one in the left is also me, the one in the right is also me. So I went from 150 kilos to 70 kilos in about 4 months. So maybe then I am maybe eligible to talk about transformation. The point is, when we talk about transformation, the key topic which I actually think in transformation is the belief. The word belief, the way we think, the way we look at, especially from Indians with such a heavy ethnic culture that we have, the moment we hear the word belief, automatically for some reason or other it goes at some juncture into a religious belief, or it goes into a belief of either something which is positive or there is a belief of something which is negative. When I ask my kid not to go and play that he will fall down, it's because I believe he may get hurt. Not because he fact that he will get hurt. It's because I believe so. The reason why it is so predominant in our minds is because, or somebody actually formulated it, is that belief is not an idea which the mind possesses, but it is an idea which possesses the mind. So the first point which I would like to bring here is the fact that we need to believe, just like we believe in certain things. We believe that the sun rises in the east. People 500 years ago believed the earth was flat. They believed it. They knew it. People were hung for saying the earth was round, because we knew the earth was flat at that time. So today we believe we are alone in the universe. We don't know whether there are aliens or not, because we believe it. So this belief actually takes us to a level wherein we can look forward to for the next day. So this is what we want to term it as a belief. Now you take this concept of belief that we have, and then you transform it into something creative in your day-to-day activity. Then you already have got a transformation. So this is what I would like to talk a little bit more about today. Of course, I am not a program manager, nor am I a speaker. I also am a Aam Aadmi, working every day to make my day go by. Yeah. Now, as the speaker said, I have started a new passion of cycling. I did all this walking. All this was because I wanted to add life to my days, not days to my life. So, that being said, I do not want to talk too much about my walk in India, but I want to put the slide in case any of you want to know more about it. From a health standpoint, you can go to Walk with Subbu. In Facebook, you can look it up. You can look at certain sites where you get all my information about my walk. Or just go to Google and say, Subbu walking Kanyakumari to Kashmir. You will get all the details. So I will not go too much into it because I don't want to spend your valuable time, because we have about 150 people there. So we have about close to 150 man hours today. So why do we want to waste it on something which is already out there? So let's not do it. So we will proceed further. Let's look at the topics of transformation. So I am not a big speaker, and I also do not personally like to attend sessions where they have 200 slides, because for me, for some reason, I'm not able to take this in all so much. Yeah? So I would like to ask your forgiveness, because this is one slide which has the maximum content. Okay. All the other slides are actually a little bit more easier, or I would like to say I would like to call them as more of a brain teaser. So far, am I clear? Is there any doubt? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Just let me know so that I can readjust myself. Now, please, let us make it more interactive. It's not a one-way communication. And I'm not a school teacher who is used to it. So, whenever we talk about a change, any change, maybe it is a change at your home, maybe it is a change in the environment, maybe it is a change in your work culture, maybe it is a change in your work itself. Almost whenever the moment we hear about a change, about 20% of the people, whether they know it or not, they resist this change. It's a common tendency. Yeah, when my wife says I want to cook roti today instead of rice, I'll say why. That's the first response that will come to me. So almost 20% to 30% of the people first go against the change. There are about 60% of the people who are pretty much neutral. It's almost like today's elections. There is 20 people for, 20 people against, 60% in the middle who will sell themselves to the biggest bidder. So it's something very similar, the concept. So about 60% of the people are indifferent. I mean, okay, I think I should raise it a little bit more so that the modulation is better. Yeah. Okay, so about 60% of the people are kind of sort of indifferent to change. Mainly because they don't think they can influence anything either positive or negative on the change. So they would say, why do I want to waste my energy about it? Yeah. Talk about the last 20% of the people. There are some people who say, okay, I want to change. Not because of anything else, so that they will know by this change, let me see how it can make it better. So they are more of, how do I say this, adventurous, you may want to call it. They like to make a change and see. It's like when you go to a new place, most of you go out of India for your work and projects and other things. Would you try and look for an Indian restaurant, or would you try and look for a restaurant which serves a local cuisine? About 20% still look for it. So they are these people who like this change, as an example. But basically, I try to codify why people are for or against the change by some factors. So in my opinion, again, my opinion, you can actually define any change from any organization. Any organization, be it home, be it the company you work for, be it the community you live in, be it anything. So the first thing I prefer is, I would like to quantify it as a vision. Because whenever there is a change, you need a purpose for a change. Everybody needs a purpose. Why do I want to walk, or why do I want to cycle, or tomorrow why do you want to go and hit the gym? Because you want to have a change. That is your vision. The next factor I believe is actually the pressure to drive the change. Yeah. Then whenever we have a change, you need a certain amount of people. Let us say we start an organization. The first thing we will look for before we look for a building would be the initial management manpower to take care of the building. So which is what we call as capability of people, or capable people, whatever you want to call it. Then, okay, you have introduced all these things. How do you know it is going further forward? Or whether there is no change in the direction or change in communication in the way you want that change to happen or to be driven. So this would be your review. Let us say you have implemented a change. Then the last factor is you have to recognize that change by itself. Not the people who made the change, but the change by itself. Yeah. So now let us look at it from this way. When you do not have vision, when the vision is lacking and you have good pressure, capable people, good review, good recognition, you end up with having something like confusion because there is no vision in the whole process. When there is no pressure, do you think anybody will care for the thing? I want to go to the gym, but there is no pressure from my family to go to the gym. Why would I care? I'll be idle 2 days in a week, 3 days in a week, I'll go to the gym. 2 months later, I'll say, hey, anyway, I have invested. Then let me go there once in a week, once in a month to socialize. And then 4 months later, I don't have time for this. Anyway, the money is gone. I have already paid my credit card with it, and now I don't care anymore. When you do not have capable people, a classic example for this, if I want to call it, no offense meant, if I say this, okay, please don't take any offense because I am going to take an example from an IT industry. This is this company Dell. I don't know if anybody here still works for Dell, but I'm not taking any offense of them. But they were the pioneers and they were the first ones to come with a palm top and a computer. But unfortunately, even today, Apple sells more than Dell. Why? Because of this, in my opinion, at the top management, they had people who were changing almost every 6 months. Because they would come, they would go, they would come, they would go. You can have many examples like this. It's not only in the IT field, even in automotive market. Let's take a classic example of Tata Motors. We had Ratan Tata, who was taking it to a different level. Then we had Mr. Cyrus Mystery as a person. But with that, something changed. We are not the people to judge what changed, but let us say something changed. But that person was not found capable for doing that activity. I'm not saying he's wrong. Please don't get me here wrong. He was not capable of handling this particular activity. That is why he was asked to go. Then the next one, let us call about a review mechanism, which is if we go in a wrong direction. A classic example for this review mechanism is all the half-done flyovers which we have, especially the one near where I live in this Pallikaranai 200 feet road. The half-done flyover for the last 6 years is causing a traffic block of 10 minutes at least. So the flyover is actually damaging it because there is nobody who can review what has been commissioned and what has been done. And last one is, if there is no recognition for what we do, this is a very key factor because most of us, including myself, or mostly myself I can say because I know only about me, we always a lot of time feel in our day-to-day life, not only at work, even at home, that we do not get the recognition what we deserve. We all feel it at some point or the other. We feel it. And the moment we feel it, the point is, next is, would we have any motivation to do anything? If I don't feel recognition, it is a good thing. Everybody has got a certain amount of ego. Everybody does. We can call it, oh, I'm a person who has no ego, but every one of us does. Because if we don't, we won't be wearing dress. We won't be looking ourselves at the mirror to see if I look good or not. That is our ego. Everybody has this ego. So, as managers and as leaders ourselves, there is one thing, before I go any further, I would like to request you. There are a lot of guys, lot of engineers working under you. It's my humble request that whenever anybody comes and says, please do not offend them by saying that this is wrong. Because by doing it, you have just killed their ego. It could be totally wrong. You can place it in different words. Can you think of something else? Can you think of different way of approaching it or whatever? But do not ever go into their face and say whatever you have done is not good. Because you have just killed that person's motivation. And we know this. When we make food and our husband or when my wife makes food, or if I go and say, oh, the salt is too much in this, I have just killed her ego. It's the same way. You guys go, you guys work, you guys come home and you guys do some things and then you guys wait for the recognition. If you don't get it, it just kills your motivation. You just feel like, why did I have it? We could have just gone out and eaten. And I'm talking about a very simple thing. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but it makes a lot of sense to me at least. So the fact is, we should never be in a position to kill somebody's motivation. Because keep motivating them. Because let us come to this factor, because unfortunately in Indian educational system, we are all trained to be clerks, nothing else. Even now, Indian education system, you call it CBSE, you call it ICSE, you call it IGCSE, you call it metric, whatever it is, end of the day, we all are forced to repeat the same thing over and over and over again. Today's kids, I mean, most of us have kids or most of us will have kids or we have gone through that phase. We all used to learn poetry. We know the name William Wordsworth. All of us do at some point or the other. Why did I have to learn William Wordsworth daffodil? Is it because I'm gonna be a poet? No. Was it for me to understand exactly what he thought when he was writing poetry? I don't know, because he did it 300 years ago. How am I going to be benefited by doing it? But we had to learn it. We had to replicate it in the exam. If I wrote my own poem, my marks would be down. No, I had to write his poem. This is the point. But in the end, we are trained to do repetitive stuff. So we are hardwired for this. We are hardwired for this. And Indians, what I have seen so far, we are really good in permutations and combinations. We are really awesome at it. The simplest example that I can take for this is we go to have food. And you guys should notice this. When you eat food with people outside of India versus ourselves, you should actually notice this. And you will find that it is right. If I go take a platter, I will take some curry, I will take some roti, or I will take some rice, I will take some sambar, I will take some pickle, I will take some. But in the end of the first round, my plate is always empty. Even a 5-year-old, his plate is empty because they calculate for each mouthful how much of this curry I should take, how much of sambar I should use. You are not really calculating it, measuring it in a cup. Yeah? By the end of the first round, your plate is empty, you are ready for the next round. But you look at anybody outside India, when they eat even their food, let us say they have their potatoes, they have their steak, and they have their chips, whatever it is. They will always have one or the other left out. Because their mind is not hardwired to calculate. But our mind is. So this is a lethal combination. So what do? We do this permutation combination in everything in life. Otherwise, we would not be able to drive in this driving condition. Because we are able to predict better than any artificial intelligence what is going to happen if I drive through or I stop. Because driving through avoiding traffic is better than stopping because somebody else is going to come and hit me. So we are good at this permutation and combination. Let's just accept it. Now, the point is, how do we best utilize it? Okay. So I think I have bored you guys enough with this slide. Let's go to the next slide. How many of you listen to or watch TED? Yeah, most of you do. So there was this one guy, I have seen this somewhere, Simon Senior. So he came out with this codification of the topic of why, how, and what. I want to actually take this, and I am borrowing it from him, and I want to simplify it in our day-to-day. What he talks about is why Dell failed, why Martin Luther King was there, and people came to Martin Luther King's topic and other things. I want to take this and then apply it in our day-to-day life. Let us take any simple example of a small confrontation which happens in our day-to-day life, let us say in our family. Or even better, let us take an example of how a confrontation happens in our family. Yeah. So I have, let us say, two friends come over, and suddenly either I make fun of my wife or my wife makes fun of me. Take this in. It's very simple. My best friend from office is here, who are actually my juniors, and my wife makes fun of me. The first topic that I will ask my wife, technically, is, what did you do? Enna nee panna? That's how I start, right? That's how we start. And then, once that witch hunt goes on about the what, then we go to the, oh, how did you do it? You should have said it like this. You should have said it like that. And we kind of sort of forget the why portion. But the moment you approach the same problem from inside out rather than outside in, that, hey, why did you make fun of me like that? You say, oh, I thought it was fun. The topic is finished. But we don't get there. So in the same way, now, let us actually take this concept and apply it in our day-to-day life. Even, but I think I have to raise it more. Either that is sliding or my head is going. One of those two. But you can hear me, right? That's more important. So, the point is, according to Simon Sinek, he says almost 100% of the people know what we do. We know. We just know it. About 50% of the people know how to do it. But about 10% or 5% of the people know why we are doing it. So now I want you to think within yourself. And there was some other conversation with Simon Sinek which I had some time ago, which jolted me into this topic about something called entrepreneurship. In India, again, entrepreneurship has got a misconception. We look at entrepreneurship as small business. Small business is small business. Entrepreneurship is a way of trying to do things differently, expecting a different result. So there is an entrepreneur within us, within everybody. So most of us are from, let us call it a middle management in our companies. Yeah. So we are all entrepreneurs in some way or other, or we can show our entrepreneurship because at any given point of time, when our bosses tell us what to do, we know. It's not that we think. I think I'm already boring. We already know that there is something wrong in what direction I have been given. We just know it. There is definitely a way we can improve it. Now we are left with two choices. Are we going to improve it within ourselves? Or are we going to inform the management that there is? This brings us into one big dilemma in our life, that if we want to inform our management, we have two problems. Either we will get denial or we will have to take ownership. Two options. Either they say no, don't do it, or they say if you do it, you are the owner. There are two options. If we don't go to them and then still do it ourselves, again we have two problems. Either you have a fear of getting fired, though you did the right thing, or you will be fired. No matter what. So we have two choices. Now the question is, how do we approach this? So I believe that when we come into such a crossroad in our day-to-day activity, it is better that we go and we do it with our boss and say, hey boss, I will do this, I will take ownership of this, support me in taking the responsibility, because I believe this is the right thing. Because I believe it. It is not that I think it. The big difference between this thought and belief, like we said in the first slide. So this is one way of approach. Other way of approach is just do it and say, see, I proved you wrong, I am better than you. But by doing that, you are doing nothing else but just feeding your ego and hurting somebody else's. And in the process, you have just gained an enemy of your boss, which really do we need it? Okay, next time I have to go and ask him for a leave, how will he give it to me? So the point, what I'm actually trying to make is, for any problem that you see in your day-to-day activity, whether it is a microscopic or it is a macroscopic problem, try to see it inside out rather than seeing it outside in. So start with the why. Now, a lot of times your companies will launch a product. So, okay. Let us go into the last slide pretty much, and then let us make it into a question and answer session. Because I think I am already boring somebody. I can see a lot of people feeling to be asleep. So I think I am really boring. So now, do we want to look at a problem from a microscopic view or a macroscopic view? Today, the problem of, let us say, no water in Chennai. Is it a problem that because of this I cannot shower today? Or is the problem that tomorrow my kid is not going to have water? It's just a way to look at it. It's just, the problem is the same. Please understand. Today there is no water in Chennai. Is it affecting me in such a way that I cannot take a shower today? Or is it going to affect me in such a way that my kids may not have any water to drink and they will die from tomorrow on? The problem is the same again. So it is a thought that you have to do. The moment I say it, now it becomes better. Most of us would think, yeah, maybe the problem is even bigger than we thought, rather than just having to shower at my home. So this brings us to the next question, that I need water, no matter what. Yeah. So now, should we be target oriented or should we be process oriented? The difference is very simple. By taking an example, again I will go back to sports. The difference between a marathon runner and a sprinter. For a marathon runner, because it's a group marathon, he doesn't care whether he comes first or last. He can actually enjoy his run. But for a sprinter, because he's in the middle of a race, he has to complete it. Now, take this same example and apply it to your office. The moment you ask people under you to finish a task in a certain amount of time, they may, because of the time pressure which they have, they will finish the task. It is complete. If it is perfectly complete, you do not need a quality department. No offense meant from quality department. Then you don't need a quality department. You do not need a debugging department. Because the guys who did it enjoyed doing it. But the moment we make them target oriented, and then when I already have a quality department and when I already have a debugging department to finish it, how would I care about the quality of the stuff that I am even making? Same thing goes in production. When I have a quality department for rejections, I wouldn't care. I will just keep on producing because my KRA is not rejections. My KRA is the number of parts that I am producing in a shift. The KRA of the quality department is to reject all the things which may get rejected the customer. Yeah. So this is the point. So should we be target oriented or process oriented? Because if we are process oriented, they may make the mistake once, but they may not make the same mistake again and again and again. But the moment you make them target oriented, the chances for them to repeat the same mistake increases in a very dramatic way, which leads to, and in manufacturing terms, it is actually something called an NQE. I do not know in IT terms what it is called, but we call it as a non-quality expense. It is an expense which the company will have to bear from its profitability, which will not help in the top line. It will not help in the bottom line. It gets unnoticed, because if you discount that from your bottom line, at least you don't have to pay the tax on it, because the bottom line is EBIT. But this expense which comes is your after-tax money which goes away for something only because you did not insist on the people to take the ownership for the product which they deliver. It is the difference. We even now prefer a cake which is bought, or a chocolate which is bought from Nestle. But still, if you go to a lot of stores, whenever you go to Ooty or Kodaikanal, why do you prefer homemade chocolate? Not because of anything that it tastes 10 times better. Only because the ingredients they use or the quality of the product, because it was made at home on a shorter quantity, might have been of a better quality. This is the only purpose. Maybe the bought chocolate from Nestle would taste the same every time I buy it, so the taste may be better. So the point I'm actually trying to make is, if possible, trying to make a small paradigm shift in saying that do not be target oriented. The target could be an outcome. The target is just an outcome. But make it process oriented. That way you will enjoy whatever you are doing. Otherwise there is no enjoyment. As I said, the difference between a marathoner and a sprinter. The sprinter like Usain Bolt, would he really know what is the scenic atmosphere when he does a 100-meter sprint? He wouldn't care. Because for him, he just has to finish it. It's the same way in our day-to-day activities also. Let us make it more process-oriented. Would we really like our family members when they cook our food not to enjoy the cooking process? Because if they don't really enjoy it, it wouldn't taste good. But they have to enjoy that process. So we are doing this at home. But in the office, we want everybody to be target-oriented. So aren't we hypocrites? And let us ask this question to ourselves. I'm not asking this to you. I want you to ask this question to yourself. Whether this. Now, somewhere I read this. I do not know who said this. I am not a person who reads all these management books. I have never read one till date. Somebody said the difference between doing things right and doing the right things. I have heard it somewhere. I do not know where I heard it, but I have heard it somewhere. So, okay, I hope there are no income tax officials here. I'll be very honest. Hey, because all of us like to cook our HRA. But we tell our kids not to tell lies. Do we do it? I do it. I'm the first person to raise my hands and say I do it. I live at a house which I own, but I still like to cook up my HRA. I'm being very honest. And the point is, or at least I used to do. The point is, this is the exact thing between doing things right and doing the right thing. We waited 25 years to buy a car. That's our dream. But we couldn't wait 1 minute to be given a chance to jump a signal if the signal is not there. If there is no light, given a choice, would you go or would you allow the next person to go? It's a very simple difference. It's a very simple thing between doing things right and doing the right thing. These are these small things in our life which actually make us think. So in my opinion, I would like to request all of you to whatever you do, whatever action that you have to take, to just take a step back and think, is it the right thing or am I doing things right? Just think of it. And then try to put it in action. And the moment you try to put it in action and when you see those fruits, it is more fulfilling. In the end, when you go to a restaurant, the question I will ask is actually very relevant and very deep. When you go to any restaurant, do you want to feel full or do you want to feel satisfied? This is the question you have to ask yourself. I could be very hungry, I could eat a lot, but do I want to eat with my full stomach or do I want the tripti, what they call it, a satisfaction? Now, by doing any action, will you get that satisfaction or will you want that fullness? That is a question you have to ask. Or in other words, let us say we all want to do charity, we all want to help people. We give money and hide behind the fact that I have given money. And then say, yeah, I am a charitable guy. Take it and then you don't spend any money. Teach 4 kids in the evening for half an hour. And try that satisfaction in 1 hour. You don't have to give any money away. So this is actually what I would like to say, doing things right and doing the right thing. I can only give examples. I am not blaming anybody that they are doing this right or doing this wrong, because there is no right or wrong. It is in each individual's perception. So now comes to the next big point. We all working in our company have got some product, either physical or non-physical. Yeah? Is our company producing this product for the overall beneficial thing to mankind, or is it just because I have it as one small piece of pie available in the market and I also want to grab it with a Me Too strategy? Yeah. Oh, he has an antivirus software, I also have to cover. Or there is wind chill, oh, I need metaphase. Do we really, is our company's vision oriented towards also having that small piece of pie? Or is our company's vision boiling down to something for a greater good? Because the end of the day, the company's vision or what they want to do is actually boil down and spread across, and it becomes all of our individual target which we have accepted and taken. End of the day, we sign our target agreement. It's not that we don't sign it, we sign it, which means I have accepted it. But this is not coming from the sky. It is coming, dripping down, percolated down from some place or the other in whichever format it is. Now, the question that we can actually ask ourselves by being entrepreneurial and also by the thought process of whether we are doing things right or doing the right thing is, how can I use this to benefit humanity as a whole, thereby providing some benefit to my company? End of the day, everybody needs an outcome. When you cook food, you need to hear, oh, the food tastes good. You needed that outcome. That is an outcome. That is your money. That is your salary, which you make. Yeah, that is your feedback that you get for something which you did, which you think you did was right. Everybody needs it. But that is what money is. That is an outcome. Not the process, it is not your product. It is just an outcome of what you get as a satisfactory measure later on. So now, also I believe that for any transformation to be possible within ourselves, always we should ask our question, is this the right way of doing it? Is there a better way to do it? And by this better way, it is not just beneficial for me, it is also beneficial for my company as a whole. The moment we start thinking in these lines, we have already become entrepreneurs. And the moment you become an entrepreneur, you start thinking about transformation. And the moment we start thinking about transformation, we try to bring transformation. The moment we are able to bring the first transformation, we have believed that transformation is possible. So that is how I would like to conclude this session. In case any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And I hope that at least I didn't bore you guys to the hell, though I may not have said too many things. And thank you for your 45-50 minutes of your time. Once again, thank you so much. And I am open to questions. We have, I think, 10 more minutes in case anybody has any questions.
How do you see transformation in a unionized environment? Union environment.
Very good point. What is a union?
Labor union.
What is a union?
Group of.
A union, I would like to say, is defining as a group of like-minded individuals who has a purpose, who has a goal, who is willing to contribute a certain amount of their time or a certain amount of their resources, money. Now I take this off here. Either they will take their time or they will take their money, which they think is beneficial for the common good. Yeah. So this is the first definition of union. Now, so the union itself, by itself, is a very good thing because for a small amount of money, it gives a lot of security. It is almost, I would like to say, it's like insurance. Today, you pay 50,000 rupees for your car, making sure that your 7 lakhs car is insured for the year. That is what union is. Now, if the question goes a little bit beyond the union and say, how can we transform unions? Then I would like to understand it a little bit better, your question, by asking you, what do you expect out of such a question? Do you want to de-unionize stuff, or do you want to empower the union more, or please explain it to me a little bit more.
I was just asking in the perspective that in the manufacturing sectors,
yes,
we have unions which is having a lot of red flags being raised, right?
Correct.
How to deal with any transformation when a company is having a union?
Absolutely. It's a good point. So now, Why would the union raise a red flag for a change? Because they have a belief that this change is not going to be beneficial for them. This is a basic underlying fact. Now, why would they think it is not beneficial for them? Only because of two reasons. Either we are doing something which will not be beneficial for them, or the second thing is we are not transparent with them about the change. It's only two things. Either it is definitely not beneficial or we are not transparent. Either way they can get angry, and they have a right to get angry at us because we have not been either transparent or we are doing something which will hurt them. If I steal more water from my tank when before I'm not giving it to my neighbor, he will get angry. He has every right to get angry. And I knew he was getting angry. I weighed the risks and I still thought, yeah, it's okay. I will deal with it later. That's why I took water. In the same way, in the same manufacturing sector, the question I will twist it and ask you in a little bit different way, which may help throwing some light on. Let us say in an industry where the union power is extremely powerful. There are a lot of such industries where the union power is extremely powerful. In such an industry, would you even have the courage to inform them that we are thinking about it? If you are not so much powerful in asking them, then it means there is something wrong in what you are doing. We are afraid that the union may not accept it, which means they will not accept it. And if they will not accept it, there is something wrong. Either in my way of putting it or in my way of hiding things from them. So in my opinion, first thing, if there is a change needed, be transparent to them. What is wrong? Who are we to decide what somebody else should know or should not know? Be open. Let them decide whether they want to take it or not. Who are we to make the decision that, oh, I should not inform this to him because he is not the right person to take this information. Let us go back to our Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita and all that stuff. Why was Arjuna given this Gita-upadesha by Krishna? Only because Krishna gave it to Arjuna thinking that he is a person who is willing to take it, who is receptive of it. Why it was not given to Dhritarashtra or Bhima was not because he couldn't, it was a secret or he couldn't stay it. Only because the other person could not take it. There is no secret in it, because today, if all of us can read Bhagavad Gita and understand it, I am very sure Dhritarashtra or Bhima could also understand it. They were not aware. So this is the point. The point is, be transparent with it. Say, guys, we have a common problem. We think of this as some potential solutions. We want you to come up with your own potential solution and let us take the best out of it. The moment you go open with them like this, because I have handled unions in my past, in my last 4 years in Delhi, but this is how I would approach it. I will go to the union line and I will tell them, guys, I am also one of you. We have this problem. How do you think we can sort it out? My production, for example, our production increased from 120 cars to 520 cars a day because somebody else put a wrong number in the VW system. We couldn't do anything. We got the orders and we had to produce it. From one shift line, I had to make it in 3.5 shifts, and every guy has to work on Saturday and Sunday. I raised my hand and said, guys, we have a problem. We have to make instead of 150, 550. How do you think we are going to do it? If you say we cannot do it, let us go and tell the customer we cannot do it, but then they will close us. Either that or we sit and work together, and I will also be with you. So the moment you take out this dictatorship format from you and then you become one of them, and I think when you go and say this, they will understand. So this is what I would like to say it as an approach. I don't know if I could solve your question out, but at least I could say something about it. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Okay, you showed a slide about
What are the major factors when you do transformation?
Yes.
So generally,
I showed from my perspective. I could be wrong.
yes.
Yes.
See, the majority vision will be always will be there, and so
Need
what
not
is
be. depends on, we have examples for almost everything. Like we took the example of Dell, which did not have a vision, or Palm when they started with the Palm.
No, I am giving the simple example. Say, for example, I want to do exercise. I want to go to join gym. What will usually happen on the first day, we'll go to gym. We'll go for another 1 month. Down the line, it will automatically gradually reduce. On one day, we think is not good, and maybe interest will be less. So it gradually it happen one by one. So in all these things, what is it?
Happen,
Huh?
it could happen.
Yes.
Don't say it will.
It could happen.
Let's use our words in a very political way.
Okay. So my point is like, what is the major factor or what is the technique? You still, for example, capability will not be there. When you want to transfer something, capability will not be there, or review will not be happening. So there are many issues will come in the transformation. How do you overcome it? Like, what's the major factor or what's the technique do you need to apply? Have you ever gone through like in your case, L case, you transferred it? What are the hurdles you faced, and how do you overcome that? So what is the majority one we need to concentrate on that, so that when you do transformation, we can complete it. That's good.
I think examples from a body transformation will really be useful here.
That actually, yeah, sure. So, okay, so I was 150 kilos till about a year ago. I went for a vacation in Mauritius and I found out that I got my entire family. So that was the day I decided to walk. So I started walking because I have metal knees. So I started walking, I walked 50 kilometers the first day. Second day also I walked 50 kilometers. Third day also I walked 50 kilometers. So for me, the vision was there. The pressure was not there. My wife was saying, you are eating very less. All the food is getting into a waste because she is used to cooking that quantity on a day-to-day basis. Or some days when I walk more, he has to make more food and there is no food at home. So it's the other way also. Nevertheless, the point is, you are absolutely right. I will take a generic example. You are right. The purpose is, once we agree, right? You asking this question to me, I already can be agreed to one thing. That we agree that these could be the 5 factors which could, if not working by sync, will affect the transformation. Can we agree to that part? That is why you asked this question. So once we know the problem, so now what is our problem? Our problem is not the transformation. Our problem is making sure these 5 factors are in sync for the transformation to happen. So this actually brings us to the next topic which I was talking about. The transformation is our target. The 5 phases which you see here is our process. So now, the moment you make sure that your process are always in sync with each other, transformation as an end product will automatically happen. That is the outcome. It is like earning your money, earning your salary every month when you get it. You are not doing anything about it. You are working. You are not doing anything for getting your salary into the bank. That the company is already putting in. That is an outcome. That's not your process. So the point is, thank you for asking this, because we knew by asking such a question, we agreed that these are the 5 problems that can come to a transformation. So it brought 2 things in our mind. One is transformation in any case is required. And the second one is we have identified these are the 5 problems which could affect my transformation. Then my job becomes much more easier. Then all I have to do is to make sure that these 5 factors are never lost anywhere, because my outcome will automatically come. So the moment, so again, let us try to radicalize ourselves and then try and say that let us not be target oriented, let us be process oriented, because the target can be the outcome. You teach your kid to know and learn things. You do not teach your kid to come first. Because if all of us start teaching our kids to come first, there is only one first time possible. Or everybody can get 100 percentile, by which we can challenge the government to change the syllabus. We have 2 possibilities. Let us not go into this race where I want my kid to be 1 step ahead of the second standard, or or second rank or second grade or whatever you want to call it. Let us give our best shot. Outcome is different. So the moment we know that the outcome that we need is actually this change, and we know these are the 5 factors which can affect such a change, all we need to do is to make sure that there is none of these 5 factors which are lost in the process. The change will come out of it. Next question, please. Yes.
First of all, thank you very much for encapsulate the elements. I'm talking about this slide of the transformation. So, thank you. And coming out with your analogies, which are, I think, thought-provoking. These are really required for anybody to take the right step towards any transformation. No doubt about it.
Thank you.
Only thing, I'm little confused. Maybe somewhere my thought process is not in sync with your thought process.
Absolutely.
On that last point, no self-motivation, because you are telling 5 elements which will give the success and success is transformation.
Correct.
I believe when you are successful, you have brought the transformation, the recognition follows automatically. Now, when I say that, let me quote 2 examples from our lifetime, but from 2 different areas of our society, and these 2 individuals, those who are well known not only in India, all over the world. Mother Teresa,
Yes.
she did not do anything for recognition. She strived hard from the beginning to end for transformation, which was very successful. I think recognition followed. Dr. Kalam, another field.
Okay.
He, if today we are seeing a big transformation in electricity act in India,
Yeah.
it is because of him.
Correct.
Transformation is not complete, still going on. But then the recognition what he got, it was not for, I don't think they all ever bothered or bogged down on that self-recognition that I should get recognized at the end of the day. I think that was the least and most uncalled for element in their requirement. Their requirement was that yes, I should do that, and that is why when you say no self-motivation, that is confusing me. Can you give an example?
I will try to explain it to you what my version of this is. Thank you for giving these 2 great examples. Let us take the same example. If Abdul Kalam in ISRO, if he was not recognized by somebody, when I mean recognition is recognizing him, not by doing babagiri. Let us not confuse these 2. If people had not recognized him for his advanced light helicopter concept or the Pokhara test which he did, do you think he would have become the president? Somebody recognized him.
No, my point is not that.
My point is coming there. So this is what I mean by recognition. If he had not been recognized by somebody, and if he had not been promoted or given those responsibilities, he would not have been able to bring this change in the electricity, what you said. If Mother Teresa had not been recognized by the world for all the good things that she did or that she started doing from the beginning, she would have never been given a chance to have accomplished what she accomplished. I am not saying she needed recognition. I am saying she deserves recognition. This is where we are.
That is not my point. My point is
No, this is exactly my point. So, if a person is not recognized, they will not have the motivation to do the next thing in some way or the other. Trust me.
So do you mean recognized is identified?
Yeah, the recognition is the identification of that person. That is what motivates you to give him more power. If you don't get recognition in your company, would you get a promotion?
Can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
It could be like it's not he needs recognition. When the transformation is happening, team will be there. They need recognition, they need you are doing in the right direction. That is our
my point is that analogy, no self-motivation.
Yes,
They were motivated from the day one till they died. They never.
but what motivated them? Let us think about it.
I'm not clear.
You are not clear. So there was some kind of, and all these people didn't do it alone. They are doing it with the help of somebody else. Mother Teresa did not do it alone. She had a whole bunch of people to do it. Abdul Kalam had a whole bunch of people to do it. He had an entire country working for him.
Okay, so when you say no self-motivation, it is motivation of the group.
Yes, it is overall motivation for any transformation.
Because I was thinking it is the individual motivation.
No. It is always, there should be some kind of a motivation in everything. When I wake up in the morning, if I don't have a motivation, why would I get out of bed?
and I
Why would I get out of bed if I don't have a
You gave
motivation?
a cases here about water conservation. You all motivated us.
We got
Yeah, because I had got compared because of
we didn't know about that otherwise.
Thank you.
yeah, because his speech made me a lot of think about the water preservation. He has given a lot of
Absolutely.
motivation.
Absolutely. See, I will give you an example. On the 23rd of February this year, I was given an honorary doctorate from Bangalore, from a German university. And I was coming, and there was one guy who was cutting the road, and he came and hit my car. And that was the day I realized, why do I need this 4,000 kilo car to drive the 80 kilometers? The car is given by my company. The fuel is given by my company. My company gives me, I think, 11,000 or 18,000 rupees every month for fuel. And it is only 15 kilometers one way. No matter however I use it, I cannot even deplete it. But still, it made me realize I am still borrowing this from my kids. No matter what, though I am paying money for it, I am borrowing this fuel from my kids. So that was the day I decided to commute to my office in cycle. So the point was, for me at that time, the motivation factor was this: why do I need a 4,000 kilo car to take this 80 kilometers? I didn't need others to motivate me. So the motivation can come in many forms. It's not just one person dependent, it is actually an activity. That's what I was actually trying to say. Yeah?
No.
Yes.
So one more question. I have two different questions.
Yes.
The first one is, what do you think is the importance of the problem statement itself? Because if the problem statement is not clear, the vision itself is going to be wrong. So how do you define that? So I wanted to relate this one with the first slide. That's the reason. And the second part is, you mentioned about the vision being coming from somebody working, and if they have the vision, then they can grow up to be an entrepreneur. You mentioned about that, but
Let me rephrase. If I understand your question right, I want to rephrase the question.
okay.
Because then I will try and see if I have done something wrong or if I have communicated something wrong. There are only two possibilities. Either I am wrong or I have communicated it wrong.
Yeah.
First question was that how does the vision get percolated? And the second question from your side was, if somebody has a vision, he can be an entrepreneur.
No, that's not the question.
Then I understood it wrong.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
question is,
Usually the
Mic
vision.
off. Switch on the mic, because you
usually
will-
the vision comes from top down,
yes.
and which the team works on to achieve whatever the transformation is. So, but when you mentioned about the vision coming from bottom up,
Yes.
so how that can be sold to the management so that the vision gets into the plan for
Correct.
transformation. That's my
Absolutely right. Okay. So, what do you think is the vision from a top-down approach for any company would be?
So based on
Would
numbers,
it be for to launch an antivirus software, or the vision from the top would be saying that this year we have to have an EBIT of 3 billion euros?
second one.
Is the second one, right? So that is the vision. That gets percolated down and down and down, and it goes into the department of IT, or it goes into a manufacturing department, which will say, okay. So if it goes into a sales department, the sales department is going to say that let us go and grab a business which can contribute, let us say, 800 million euro out of this. It goes into the program management department. The program management department is going to say, okay, out of the 800 million euros, I am going to make a 10% EBIT because I am responsible for the bottom line. Okay. So the manufacturing department goes and says, okay, now I am going to create the same product by a 10% design to cost. whatever I have planned. So I will reduce the size of the plastic, I will reduce the screw. So this is how it gets percolated. Now, the same thing when it goes bottom up. So from a vision, as a manufacturing engineer, yeah, I say, okay, I am assembling this screw into this piece, these two, and I am using 4 screws. Hey, I think it is an overkill. I think we can reduce it to 3 screws and achieve the same result. Again, a simple example. Okay. So I use this example. Then what I did, so I percolate it up. You say now in the bill of material of this product, I have taken out 1. Okay. So there is some contribution, whatever it is, no matter how minuscule it is, there is some contribution towards it. In the overall product, when it goes to the customer, this is already saved. Okay. In the overall cost of the car, which I am actually selling, also the screw is saved in 2 ways. One is no other problems will happen because of the screw, because the screw itself is not there. So this is how the bottom end approach can contribute. Now, who is the person here to decide whether he can remove the screw or not? That becomes his entrepreneurial capability. This is from manufacturing sector. If I go into a software sector, okay, a guy who has been doing projects for multiple customers, multiple coding, no problem. He gets the next task which is very similar. He has 2 choices. He has done a very similar product or very similar coding for one particular module before. Okay. And he goes and says, the software engineer goes and says, hey guys, I have already done it. By tweaking it a little bit, I can exactly get what you wanted. Or he can sit and redo the whole coding again and again, or he can copy paste this coding and boondoggle it for about 1 year. He has 3 choices. Now, the moment he takes this step that, okay, I am going to recode it, by this process, you do not have to debug it, you do not have any problem in integration, you do not have any problem in putting this in somewhere else, plus it is our intellectual property. Now, 2 customers have wanted the same thing, let us take an IP on it, let us patent it. That becomes his entrepreneurial skill when he goes up. And this also is helping the company's overall vision, because the company just saved 1 FTE. From the other perspective. So, in almost every example, you can see the top-down and bottom-up approach, how it can come to and how it can meet with an end. I hope I have answered your
So
question.
my question is a little bit different.
Please.
So I understand that from top down,
Yeah,
people accept whatever the vision for the management and then try to achieve them. But the difficulty is selling it from bottom up. So when a person comes up with an idea, it depends on the acceptability of the management, whether they are ready to accept the vision from the bottom up and get it into the system, right?
absolutely right. But I think you have already given the answer to your own question.
Yeah, I know that.
The answer to your own question is, how do you sell it?
Yeah.
What is the definition for sale? A sale happens when you are able to give something to somebody else for a certain compensation. It could be money, it could be anything else. Yeah. So now the question is, again, the target is defined that you want to sell it. You only have to worry about the process. You don't have to work about whether I can sell it or not. But you have to sell it.
No, but here I think in your example,
Yes.
another point to make there is that when you talk about the bottom up approach or reusing or coding and all those kind of stuff.
It was just an example. It need not be. I am not from IT field, sir. I do not know.
But typically in an IT field, that is part of your strategy itself. If there is a knowledge management, and then there is a reusability, and when you talk about replicating solutions,
Correct.
is more about bringing in more economies of scale. Now, how do you become more competitive? Because you can't be charging the same thing to the different customers for the same kind of a solution. So when you want to make it more sales, increase in sales, or increase in number of customers for similar solutions, you try to make it as a product. And in that sense, you try to bring in all those things. So that is always there. So whether it's top down or bottom up,
Okay.
this strategy has to be there if you want to be successful and to survive in the long term.
Okay. Let me again. I have a small contradiction with you here.
Okay.
When we are talking about successful, I don't know where I read this, but we can never be successful. We can only be content. A successful or success is something which is defined by somebody else, not us. For example, for my, no offense meant again, for a person who is working, let us say 10 levels below me, he thinks I am successful. When I look at my CEO, I think he is successful. It's actually a relative term. We can only say whether I am satisfied with where I am or I am not satisfied with what I am. So success is a relative term. Because for
I'm
our,
talking about success, I'm talking about.
sir, you use the word successful. So I am actually redefining that.
No, I'm talking from a company standpoint.
How do I say a company is successful? When I compare it with somebody else. Otherwise, everybody is successful. How do you do it? I mean, I'm asking you this question. I'm not contradicting you, sir. Don't get me wrong.
No, no, no.
I'm asking you this question for my own understanding.
No, it was in terms of the whole thing about what is the top down and the bottom up.
Correct. So it was just an example which I gave you. Maybe it may not be relevant because I'm not from IT
Yeah,
field.
so in IT field, typically these are all aspects which are become part of this package.
Fair enough. So now let us
So
take
that's what I wanted to make a point.
understood. So if I want to redefine it, and maybe it is not a right example to have taken in this forum, maybe let us try and take another example for the bottom-up approach. Let us take, say, one guy has got the lessons learned from a lot of activities that he has done, which he thinks is his intellectual property, because that could be useful for him when he goes job hunting from company A to company B. Think of it from this perspective. This happens also, I think. Yes, I know what all bugs can come from this particular solution. So I become this debugging master because I exactly know what is going to happen. It's like having a master chef who is hired from every house, who goes house to taste their food to say whether it is right or wrong. So when I say, okay, hey, I am this debugging guy, I already know what all problems that are going to come. I don't care what will happen, but I have this tool. Let us implement it across all the things in our platform and then decide how much money we are able to save by this process in terms of resources or in terms of NQE. If they come and do it, that becomes their entrepreneurship. But the moment I take it and I keep it in my back pocket thinking that this is my USP, then this brings down to your next question, whether, because I am paid salary by this company, which means I have to give my entire resource to this company. Because in India, unfortunately, you cannot do multiple jobs. You can do only one job. You can get salary paid only from one job, technically, quote unquote. So that being said, how do I do it? So this brings down to such questions. But end of the day, the point I was trying to make is just to give a feel for it.
Okay, just one more question in the
Sorry,
interest
coming
of
back
time.
to the first point, first question. So do you think?
Sir, I answered two of the questions. After this, I will definitely
Yeah, he
answer
will be
your
pretty much
question.
available here after this. You can have an offline
I
discussion.
will give him a chance. He has been waiting for so long.
Sir, like in your previous slide, I
Yes.
will go back.
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. I'll come to the same thing, fourth one. We have a vision, pressure, capable people, review.
Yeah.
That is vision. Okay, I'll talk about a case. There is like a resource manager having 30 resources. And there are two kinds of project. One is a full scope project where he himself gets involved. And there is a cross labor where he sells his resources to the other region. They do a project.
Understood.
Okay. Both projects are successful. Both are earning the same revenue to the company.
Correct.
And on the cross labor project, the peer manager who is has to recognize, he is recognizing the work. He is giving you feedback. When it comes to my final management, he is having like his own project. People are biased or like whatever the constraint. How do I transform the mindset of the people, or should I change it? Or it is not nothing to do with my self motivation. I am getting motivated because from where it
Understood. Then it comes to actually just a moral question. What is more for the common good?
Common good is
It could bring the same revenue to the company.
it's an same level.
It could bring the same revenue to the company, as you rightly said.
Yes.
But then it comes to the question, what is the right thing to do?
Okay. It is not to try. Okay. It is left to the individual, not to the.
Yes, it is left to the individual. You have to decide because multiple factors come here. By you transferring your guy there, you may have to work, let us say, 10 or 20% more for achieving the same result. But in that process, you are giving the chance to that guy to actually learn much more. So that maybe next year your own scope increases, your own scope improves, you are able to cater to a better requirement. Or this guy actually can get promoted, or he can promoted in a sense not in terms of designation or not in terms of position. His knowledge base increases and he gets into a better position in life. So if you are able to do it, you should promote it. It's a question between doing the right thing and doing things right. Because there is nothing wrong in both ways. You wanting to have your resources to yourself, there is nothing wrong in it. But think about what your guy wants.
Because what exactly I'm precise, when recognition comes, it's to other person.
Correct.
If it's not being rightly recognized,
Yes.
and everything is been done, and the process is right,
Correct.
things are done right,
Correct.
and how do you influence people to recognize?
Okay. This is your job, not your guy's job. This is your main job to make sure that he gets recognized no matter what. You will not leave that. The moment you are able to prioritize it, it changes. I have seen it happen. Because in Chennai office, we have 500 people. And I have 0 reportees in Chennai. I have nobody. In Delhi, I have 2,000 people. But I am the person who speaks the most here in Chennai to make sure that all the others are recognized. Though I have nobody reporting to me. The point is, it is your priority. It's nobody else's. When you have a team, it becomes your responsibility. Because think of this as your home. At your home, you have your family, you have your kids, you have your brother, you have your parents. You will keep them in as priority. You are the second priority. Do the same thing in the office. And make sure that others also do the same thing in their office. Yeah. That's your job. If you are lending your guy to another group, tell them, hey, I am going to watch you. If you do not do this, you are not going to get it anymore.
So I'm thinking it's not no self-motivation, it is killing self-motivation.
It need not be. End of the day, it is a very simple question. The point is, let us say there is one guy who is doing a great job in your work, in your office. There is another guy who may not be, there are another 10 guys who may not be doing so good. Will you raise this guy's salary, or will you reduce this guy's salary raise to keep all the 11 in the same level? Very simple question. Is it motivating or demotivating? Because by doing this, you are motivating the 10 other guys. But by giving him an increased salary, you are demotivating the other 10. Think of it this way. What would you choose? It's a question you don't have to answer. You just have to think. That will bring you your answer. Just think of it. Yeah. Once again, so sir, after this, I would definitely like to answer your question.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any other questions, do we have to leave?
We
Can I have that one question?
we can take it off.
Yeah, after the
Sure,
cases.
I have no problem. So once again, thank you all so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Subramanian, for such an interesting and interactive session on Saturday morning.
I hope so.
And can we have one more round of applause? Now request Mr. Raghumani, VP Finance, to give a moment to our speaker.